Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you your top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week. Now, these top 8 stories are only documented for records and to highlight topics for those in the business of talk radio, talk media, and those who just want to stay informed. These are important stories that made it throughout the week. Now let's get to the top 8 stories that made it in the media this week. Story number 1. The pros and cons of President Trump's $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan. Now, President Trump is set to release his long-awaited $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan to rebuild the nation's crumbling highways, bridges, railroads, airports, seaports, and water systems. Now, spectators say the plan, supposedly organized as a federal financing plan to the states, which means the states may have to pay the money back, or taxpayers may have to pay the money back, or the government will issue the money. Now, this basically spectators are saying that it's putting altogether too much of a load on states. Now, this they are saying will increase the cost of tolls, water and sewer fees, transit fares, and also airline ticket taxes, as if taxpayers were not already taxed enough, causing an uproar across the nation. So people are confused. They're wanting to see what is the pros in the new infrastructure plan and what are the cons. And the spectators are saying that there will be too much weight put on the states. Story number 2. How will a civil lawsuit against the Weinstein Company change the future of entertainment? Now Weinstein is now facing allegations for sexual harassment and assault. The Harvey Weinstein story, which was supposedly, I guess it goes back, the sexual assault cases goes back throughout the history of the company. So some say this is not new news. It's been going on for years. Now, this developing story may change the future of the way women and men behave and interact in the entertainment world. The story may also put the spotlight on why some parents may choose not to let their children engage to choose entertainment as a career. Let's hope not. There's still some good people in the entertainment world. And this is basically the new story that is developing. I mean, we've seen sexual assault cases arise and be the front page news across the United States. Let's hope, like I said, this headline continuously develops and the story continuously develops as the weeks go on and on. New victims emerging each week. Story number 3. What budget cuts does President Trump have in mind? Now, one proposed cut is towards the global health security agenda, which help fight against outbreaks. Now, those who oppose such cuts say that this would not be a wise decision due to the rise in outbreaks and infectious diseases that have been still threatening and moving across the world. So they're saying may not be the time to go thinking about cutting anything. Now, another cut in the budget that has got the attention of some people is the cuts to NPR and PBS as well. Now, many Americans, including children, have relied including me too, have relied on such public programs for years for educational and information content at no charge. These stories are developing and continuously to keep an eye on as they continue to catch people's attention. Story number 4. Why humanitarian aid has become a hot topic in 2018. Now, you may not know it, but where there is war, mining, and resources, there are people less informed that are suffering. Now, this is because a global issue, especially when able-bodied people are abusing aid like welfare and things, and they don't know where that money is coming from or how to use it. But there are people across the world who are not eating. They are suffering and dying of thirst and hunger. Now, after breaking the story of children starving in one of the world's biggest gold mines, Indonesia, journalists and human rights advocates and people who are involved in humanitarian aid may be the only heroes that can shine light on this huge problem that often is left unnoticed. So like I said, people are suffering, and journalists And those on the front lines, humanitarian aid workers, may be the only real heroes in this battle because some people just do not care. Story number 5, people are starving. Since 2000, there have been more than 340,000 deaths in America due to opioid addiction and just opioids, period. Now, the silent voices of families attempting to get a grasp on how drugs have somehow swept through the cracks and taken the lives of loved ones remains a mystery. Now, in a day and age where bending the rules seems normal, taxpayers are still wondering how or why they have to clean up the mess of other citizens. That includes the legalization of pot. Some people are wondering, how did this happen after so many years of it being illegal? Now, the question now is, did drug makers know the side effects of spending millions to promote pain-relieving drugs? Let me rephrase that: medical marijuana. Now, so people are now wondering, the drug makers, how did they ever know the side effects? This is the topic that is developing and continuously develops as the story and the saga heats up on the war on drugs and opioids. Story number 6. What is causing the earth to heat up? Now, scientists have continued their research on global warming, even through all of the debating that has been going on between saying that humans are not causing it. But some scientists are saying something is causing the earth to warm up. Now, they have found evidence that the earth is heating up and the ice in Greenland and Antarctica seems to be melting, which they say is causing rising sea levels. Now, the big news and the big debate is, like I said, are humans causing the earth to warm up? This debate continues to go on. Now, with numerous stories and opinions on the matter, this topic remains in the headlines and probably will continue to be in the news as long as scientists keep making daily discoveries and numerous amounts of advances towards the debate on climate change. Now, the last and final 2 stories that made it into the Mediator this week that you need to keep an eye on: the new war in retail and online shopping. Now, this is an interesting story because stores are going out of business fast and they're trying to adapt. Now, since there have been new advances in the way people buy goods and products online, there have been some people that have not been keeping up, and that's malls and stores like Sears, Macy's, and other big box well-known retailers that have been scrambling to adapt, and some are finding ways to stay afloat, barely. Now, with news of Amazon laying off workers and the shipping service sector struggling to keep up with other competitors, the new and old ways of doing business may be the only way to survive as they continue to find new and merge old ways of doing business to gain customer loyalty. Now, we can't help but wonder how long the war to get a grasp on the market will go on, as all of these changes and people all over the place trying to figure things out. People are losing money by the day. And with the new administration geared towards manufacturing and a crackdown on trade, the profit wars will continue to be in the headlines for weeks to come. Now, as the battle continues, I'm sure CEOs and board members will be keeping a close eye on government regulations, new ways to grab fresh buyers, and innovative ways to keep loyal customers coming back. So beware. That mall that you may see in the city, let's just hope it stays there. Story number 8, and the final story that you need to watch for that made it into the Mediator this week. Big story. Dead Russian contractors bombed in Syria. Dead Russians. A long list of people that have left the Trump administration. DACA and immigration reform. And a new list of corrupt Baltimore cops. Yes, they were hired to stop gun violence, and it went down south. Now, these stories will be heating up as they continue to develop throughout the weeks. They will be critical to the decisions that voters make in the midterms, and they may alter the course and direction that voters are taking and paying attention to as you watch this program. So beware of these top 8 stories that are going on in the news. These are the top 8 stories that made it throughout the week. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to The Mediator this week. And if you want to show us some support, go to our website at www.method8inc.com. You can buy something, click on something, or just watch something. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to The Mediator this week. I'm your host, Brian West. Have a good week, everybody.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.